Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike!
All right, party people. It's Wednesday night, Gridiron Grinder time. I am Ryan. With me, as always, is my buddy James. We're just a couple dudes hanging out, talking about what's going on in the NFL each week. This is episode 214, keeping it going strong for our, 7, 8, however many viewers we get in any given week. Maybe one day that YouTube algorithm will favor us. Until then, we just keep persevering. And so, for tonight, standard stuff. Name that stadium, news of the past week, power rankings, game picks, and then question of the week. And so, yeah, with all that being said, how's it going tonight, bud?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We're kind of like in a solidly gray, cold, kind of dreary time right now. And I'll be honest, there have been some depressing days. It's just like, holy shit. It just is like, I don't know. I need a little sunshine or something just to give me a little pep in my step, man.
Yeah, so we've been pretty cool out here for a while, like, mid 50s to low 60s during the day, and then all
Yeah.
of a sudden today it was fucking 78.
Nice, man. Nice.
So we had
Signs of
nice,
life.
yeah, signs of life, not this gloomy shit, but it was outside of that, same shit going on
Yeah.
here.
And normally it doesn't bug me that much, but man, something about it lately is just like dragging me down, man. Like, fuck, just can't handle it. Oop, I dropped the F-bomb a little early, but hey,
Ah,
whatever. YouTube doesn't like us anyhow. So, but yeah, so whenever you're ready, my man, why don't you do a little name that stadium for us?
all right, so as everyone can see, those six people watching, maybe five of you,
Yeah.
because I think one of them's two of the people are the same person. Anyways, I travel around different stadiums that host NFL games during the week, or host NFL games, tie it into something with the week or my thoughts on the week. First person guesses right. We'll give them an extra special shout out in the following week show. I told everyone last week that I was in Houston. Nobody guessed from what I saw, and right now I'm just kind of following the Lions around a little bit.
We did
But
get a new subscriber, I'll tell you that.
ooh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, some people are looking for us, but no comments, no weekly action.
So y'all out there have to play name that stadium, get that extra special shout out.
I concur. Um, all right, simple enough. Moving on. James, what in the heck has happened in the NFL since last Tuesday? Because we did the show early last week.
Well, well, first is like probably the biggest news of the week is, and probably not going to get into much about it, but Atlanta has benched Cousins,
Yeah.
and Penix will get the start this week.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll put a pin in that one for question of the week, but that is one of several quarterback benchings from this past week, right? So Will Levis got benched for Mason Rudolph, and
Yeah,
then who the heck?
Jameis Winston got benched.
Winston got benched, and then I mean, not that it was like the end of the world or anything, but whoever started for New Orleans got benched. It wasn't
Oh,
Derek Carr.
no, it was
Was it Rattler that started or Hayner that started?
Hayner
Either one of
started.
them. One of them got benched.
Hayner started. I was like Heineken. No, it's the other
Heineken.
one.
Yeah, I think
Hayner.
Heineken. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of quarterback action this week, and I mean, hey, you got to shake it up. We're at the end of the year here. It's time to light a fire, and so I get it. It just, yeah, like just it all happened the same week apparently.
Yeah, like Cleveland and Tennessee aside, both New Orleans and Atlanta are still in the playoff race. So
Yeah. So dicey to make that move.
it's dicey to make that move, but if you watch the Saints game, Hayner wasn't getting it done
Yeah.
at all. And the same thing with Cousins. Cousins had like a 3 game stretch where he had shitty games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was like
Maybe
one
4 games.
touchdown and 9 interceptions in the last however many games. It's like, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, and they barely beat the Raiders.
Yeah.
which, eh,
Yeah, yeah. We're coming back to that one.
the Raiders though, that was more, I think, more defense than offense, but
Okay.
we'll we'll come back to that one, and then like Levis was playing like shit, and so was
Yeah, Levis was playing like shit all year, minus when he
yeah,
was out for his injury, but yeah.
he had no Levis had like 2 or 3 games
Uh,
there where
no,
he
you're
was
right. He
kind of
did have a
fire.
couple games where he looked like a quarterback, yeah.
And I thought he turned the corner and then just dropped off. And then who was the other one? Winston. Winston, it's what you get with Winston. Like
Yeah.
he is
He's
feast or
boom or
famine.
bust. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he has an incredible arm. He's gets way too free with the ball.
Yeah, he'll throw you 4,000 yards in the season if you let him, but he's going to throw, 20 plus interceptions getting there.
Yeah, like I mean he had I mean he didn't have that bad of he didn't have that bad of a game.
No, I think if they rolled with Winston all year instead of Watson, they would have been a fucking playoff team, dude.
Oh no, that was Kansas. They were playing Kansas City. He 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I was thinking about what popped up first was New Orleans game, which was 2-0, but 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So I mean, he had so far this season he's had 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Yeah, that's about par for him, 1-1.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that is what it is with him. But I mean, I think you're right. If they started with him instead of going with Winston to start the season, when did he started after they were 1-4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be a
I don't
totally
know.
different ball game.
It may or may not be a totally different ballgame. Like they probably would have beat the Giants, so they would have been 2-3. But they played in that stretch. Maybe beat the Giants, maybe beat the Bengals. But I mean, in
Sure.
that stretch, they also played Washington, Philadelphia, who are
Oh
Washington.
yeah,
at
so
the
they
time
might
was
not
ranked-
it might not have moved the needle much. Okay, I got you. Yeah, the
Yeah.
schedule. Okay.
The schedule might not have moved the needle much, but I mean, definitely probably would have beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati was playing like shit at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
And maybe beat Philadelphia, because Philadelphia was playing shitty at the beginning of the season. I mean, Philadelphia barely beat Cleveland, but Washington just stomped them.
Yeah. So James, this is just a random poke I gotta do here. I saw your boy Clyde Edwards-Helaire is signing with the Saints.
Oh yay!
Did you put in a waiver request in fantasy yet?
I have not.
Oh
I
shit! I
actually
gotta jump you to it. No, I'm just kidding.
there's actually reason to put in a waiver for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not saying that I'm on the bandwagon for him.
Yeah.
But Alvin Kamara his status is unknown for the Monday night game, and he left this past week with a groin injury. So that's why they went and signed him. Chiefs had cut him, but that's why they went and signed them, because the fact that you don't know what's
they
up
need
with
some
Kamara.
depth. Yeah. All right, what else we got going on here, bud?
Shall we talk about the injuries?
We can. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I guess we should talk about the injuries. Yeah.
Like Mahomes had a. I hadn't seen what actually it was, but it's not like it fucking matters because he's full participant in practice this week so far. So,
Yeah.
but it was a high ankle sprain or something with his ankle.
Yeah, that might affect one of our picks, right? Because I think I picked against him thinking he'd be
Yeah.
out, but I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to that point in the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it then. But it's I'm looking for it, but like here it is. Full participant in practice today. Because they play on Saturday this week, but it's looking good for him to play.
Okay.
But his quote kind of tells me he may not play. Because his quote is, I wouldn't say it's dire that I play. It's not in the AFC Championship game where we're playing to get to the Super Bowl. We have a little bit of room to kind of spare, but at the end of the day, we're trying to win.
Yeah.
And went on to say, I'll push myself to get to the best place possible over the next few days, and we'll be able to make a decision then. I'm not going to put our team in a bad position.
Sure.
Obviously, it's football and you're going to take hits, but you want to be able to protect yourself. So that'll be where I'm at, and I don't want to limit the game plan. That's another thing for me. I want to be able to move around the pocket, blah, 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 blah. It's about me finding that balance and seeing where I'm at. If I feel I can play and go out there, I'll play. And if
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's the best case scenario, I'll let guys like Carson play.
Yeah.
So it kind of it's I don't know how to take that, because it's like, well, I may play, I may not play. He had last week, or like before this past week's game, because they play 3 games in 11 days.
Yeah.
Because they play on Christmas Day. He was bitching about that already. So I mean, maybe, this injury is, helping him out, getting him out of that 3 games in 11 days, and just play 2 in those 11 days, more normal schedule. But I do like what the league did. Talking about the Christmas games, is this weekend all 4 teams that play on Christmas Day play on Saturday this week instead of Sunday.
Okay.
They just flip.
I got you.
The Chiefs are playing Houston and Pittsburgh's playing. Oh shit, I forget. I forget who's Pittsburgh's playing, but then next week, what is that? Pittsburgh's playing Baltimore this week on Saturday, and then next week Pittsburgh plays Kansas City and Baltimore plays Houston.
Gotcha. Okay.
So at least they did that solid and gave them the extra day instead of having to play on Sunday and then come back and play on Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. Well, keeping the injury train rolling, you want to hit the trio from the Lions?
What's the
David Montgomery with the knee.
Montgomery with the knee.
Alan McNeil and Carlton Davis.
So Carlton Davis, for some, like, he left the game, but I had heard, Davis is out for the rest of the season?
Yeah. So Alan McNeil with a torn ACL. Carlton Davis was a broken jaw. And then Montgomery was a torn MCL. So
potentially torn MCL.
Okay, yeah.
He's getting a third opinion on that. But also, Khalil Dorsey is on injured reserve too.
Yeah, we're just fucking, just getting worn thin here at this point, man. It's tough.
What is Dorsey's injury?
I don't even remember his.
Like, I remember him going out because, like, he was playing pretty good, and then
rhabdomyolysis, a condition that damages muscle tissue and releases muscle fiber into the bloodstream. No, that says in September. So what? Well, fractured leg Sunday.
Oh yeah,
he was the one they had to bring out the cart for.
Oh my god, that was fucking creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
I was surprised they showed the replay. Like, his foot, when it hit the ground, was turned 180 degrees.
Yeah, so I missed it, but I heard him talking about it, and I was out with my kids, and so I was just like, okay. When I finally got home, I was like, there's no need to go back now.
Yeah.
Like if I was watching it on my own and I missed it. I would probably have like rewound to see it, but by the time it got around to it, I'm like, nah, it's okay. Poor
No,
guy,
so they
but
so they showed a replay, like they came back and they showed a replay while they were still getting him up on the stretcher, and there's like, we're gonna show this to you once. And like I didn't see anything the first time, so I rewound it and I watched, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had to do the air cast or whatever and get him out of there.
Yeah. And then there's another freaky injury. Oh God, I forget what game it was. Guy went to like he. What you never see is like they took like his shoulder pads, his undershirt, his helmet, everything off on the field. Who was it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they like,
It was that
yeah,
receiver.
yeah. I can't remember who, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Whew.
Was Nick Chubb broke his foot.
Yeah, he's on IR. Yep.
I think it was Alec Pierce.
From Indy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Alec Pierce.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like glancing through like all the injuries from Sunday. Oh, this is a funny one. Seattle Seattle Seahawks, they forgot to update the link. Seattle Seahawks center link placeholder 41 is doubtful to return against the Packers.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. Your parents loved you.
Yeah. Also, Hurts had a concussion. Um, Hurts broke a finger on his non-throwing hand.
Okay.
Anyways, I digress.
Yes. All right. Yeah. So aside from all that, I did see Buda Baker, the safety for the Cardinals. He signed a 3-year, $54 million extension. Good
Mhm.
for him, man. He's been rock solid for them. So that dude deserved to get a little payday.
Yeah, 100% on that.
All right. Well, anything else you want to hit, or are you ready to power ranking it up?
Just
You get
take
to
a quick
crank it up.
minute. I think that's about it.
Okay.
So we go for the power rankings after a 8 week, no, 7 week stay at the top of my power rankings. I now have a new number one. I moved them
Yes.
up 4 spots from number 5 after beating my number one, the Buffalo Bills, and I dropped the Lions down 1 spot. I wasn't as harsh as you on that because I think they're still of the best teams in the league. I think they could beat Philly. I think they could beat Kansas City. Though that's 3 and 4, which Kansas City actually dropped 2 spots. I moved Philly ahead of Kansas City.
Sure.
That was kind of a little bit of a reaction to the Mahomes injury, not seeing the updates about it.
Yeah.
So maybe I reacted too much to that to that, not knowing the facts, but we'll see next week. And then Pittsburgh runs out my top 5, dropping down one spot after losing to Philly. It was more of, they lost to a team that I had ranked higher than them.
Mm-hmm.
I had ranked right ahead of them, and I had, but it was more of, I didn't like what I saw, the highlights I saw from Sunday.
Sure.
Out of Pittsburgh. So, and plus the TJ Watt injury concerns me.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, my man. So for me at 1, I moved Buffalo up. I moved them up 3 spots. I was actually tempted to put Philly there, but Buffalo just beat Detroit, and so I basically did a little swap-a-roo with those 2 teams. I kept Kansas City at 2, Philly at 3. Kansas City's really just at 2 because they still, just keep winning games, and whatever it is, they just, that's why I kept them in my top spot for as long as I did anyhow, even though I thought Detroit was the better team. But and then Philly, my whole thing with them now is watching them, and you see how they hit their stride with Saquon Barkley, and the defense has come together over the course of the season. And they have very few injuries in the grand scheme of things. To me, they're just starting to look like one of the most well-rounded teams in the league. And so, I'm keeping an eye on them. Detroit, I dropped them down to 4, and that's just because of the injuries, man. I mean, it's brutal. How we've been even able to stay in these games on defense up until this past week has been blowing my mind. But I'm worried that it's really falling apart hard now, and I have, you know, I want them to find a way to persevere, and I have all the faith in the world in Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. But obviously I dropped them because I'm a little bit rattled by it, and we got to see, how they respond after this Buffalo loss. So.
Yeah.
And then at 5, I've got Green Bay. I kept them where they were at. The board was kind of locked, and so that's that. Even though they got a win, so back to you at 6, my man. And I will say this actually before moving on. Green Bay is looking like a damn well-rounded team to me too, and so they're one to keep an eye on. I know Minnesota's getting a lot of the hype behind the Lions, but I would not put anything past the Packers, man. I think that they are a dark horse Super Bowl team at this point. So,
yeah. See, the thing with the Packers, so I had read an article. They're still alive for the NFC North, but they lose all tiebreakers against the Lions and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So they need the Lions and Minnesota to go winless.
Yeah.
The rest of the way. So, which means a tie last week of the season.
I got you.
And then, and that's how Green Bay has to win out, but they can they can win the division still, which is
And whether they wild card it or not, I think I just think the talent is there, and they're another one of these teams that has very, very few injuries this late in the year, which helps tremendously as the playoff push begins.
True.
So, yeah, back to you at 6, my man.
All right, so a lot of the teams in this range really had nowhere to go up. You have the Ravens. I didn't want to put the Ravens ahead of the Steelers because the Steelers beat the Ravens when they played previously this season. Then you have the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Packers, all won, but all stayed the same.
Sure.
I moved Tampa Bay from 11 to 10. This was more of the fact that I dropped Seattle out of the top 10. Yeah, I had Seattle at 10, and I had Green Bay ranked ahead of them, but I didn't like the performance in this past week's game. Losing by 17 to Green Bay kind of made me second guess them being a top 10 team.
Gotcha. All right, so yeah, on my side, 6, I've got the Vikings. They didn't move. 7, I got Pittsburgh. I didn't move them. 8, Baltimore, didn't move them. 9, Tampa Bay, I bumped them up 2 spots. And then 10, Washington, I bumped them up 2 spots. And so Some of this was a little bit of a shuffle because I took the Chargers down, which we'll get to next. But with Pittsburgh, they did lose to the higher team, as you mentioned earlier, and so it was close enough in terms of what's going on with my board that I wanted to keep them here. Plus, I wanted to keep them above Baltimore, which they beat earlier in the year. And so I wanted to keep that kind of harmony. We're going to find out this week. Maybe that changes, but it is what it is for now. So, yeah, back to you at 11, man.
All right, so at 11, I have Denver. I moved them up 2 spots. Yeah, they beat Indy, but I think Denver's playing at a high clip right now.
Yeah.
If there was another loss in my top 10, I was considering putting Denver in my top 10. Seattle dropped 2 spots. I kind of touched that when I did Tampa Bay. When I did Tampa Bay. The Chargers, I only moved them down 1 spot.
Okay.
I didn't get as high on them as you were,
Yeah.
so it's not really that precipitous of a fall for them. Then 14, I have the Rams. Nowhere really to go up for the Rams, and Houston also nowhere really to go up, so they stayed the same.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm with you at 11 with Denver. I moved them up 2 spots. I like what they're doing. I mean, phenomenal season, great story. We've talked a lot about it. 12, the Chargers. So I dropped them 3, and yeah, I was super high on them, and then I probably could have done a more jagged move when J.K. Dobbins went out, and I just kind of held it to see how they'd respond, and now I'm kind of at that point where I'm losing a little bit of faith because that offense is definitely sputtering in recent weeks. And, whether it's fucking Quentin Johnson dropping passes or the running game just not being there, it's tough. Like their style of football, you got to make those sort of like random key plays on offense, and they're just not doing it. So
Yeah, I wanted to take a second here. Something I normally touch on the playoff picture in
sure.
the news, and since we're talking about all these AFC teams, we have a lot of the AFC in here. This weekend, the playoff teams, the 7 teams that make the playoffs for in the AFC can be decided, which would be the first time that happened since the merger with two games left to play for all teams.
Gotcha.
If the Chargers beat Denver, Tennessee beats Indy, San Francisco beats Miami, and Cleveland beats Cincinnati, then it'll lock up all 7 playoff spots with Buffalo, Kansas City, Houston, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Denver, and the Chargers.
Gotcha. All right. Good to know.
Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, at 13, I've got Houston. I moved them up 2 spots. 14, the Dolphins. I dropped them 4. That was another team that was, on Tua's return. I gave them a pretty monstrous boost, and the results have kind of been mixed at best since he's been back. And so time for me to slowly drag them down. And then 15, I've got Cincinnati. This is, I don't know why I got Cincinnati so high still. I think it's just because Burrow and Jamar Chase, and it just seems like they're on a mission to like shatter some records, but it's just not meaning anything in the win column. So, yeah, back to you at 16, bud.
All right, so 16 through 20, there's no place for really any of these teams to go based on who they either beat or who they lost to. 16, Dolphins stayed the same. Atlanta 17, Arizona 18, Indy 19, Cincy 20. There's really no place to go for any of these teams. Like Miami lost to Houston, who I had ranked at 15. Atlanta barely beat Vegas, who I have at the bottom. Arizona beat New England, who I have at the bottom. The Colts lost to Denver, who I have close to my top 10. And Cincinnati beat Tennessee, who I have down at the bottom. So there's nothing really to do here.
Hey, keep it easy, man. Keep it easy. 16 for me, I've got the Rams. I moved them up 1 spot. 17, I've got the Seahawks. I dropped them 3, and it was more than I would have wanted to do. But when I started pushing them down, I realized that they had lost to the Rams earlier in the year. And so I kind of gave them like a little extra slide just to kind of get that kind of harmony on my board. 18, the 49ers. Um, I didn't drop them because the Rams were already a spot ahead of them. And then just watching that game, you could just tell that it was just a shit game with the rain and things just weren't going right for either team. And honestly, like the Rams kind of caught a little bit of fire at the end, which was the difference maker. But um, the 49ers, this is like, crazy low for them. I know you got them even lower, but their story for this year is injuries, and that's kind of my concern with why I dropped the Lions the way I did, because it's like I start looking at it and I'm like, God damn, man, like a team like the 49ers can't fight them all off either, right? Like, in the Lions, we've just been damn lucky and damn good to get this far with them, and so I'm just, ugh. But yeah, anyhow, then at 19 I've got the Cardinals, drop them 1. 20 I've got the Falcons, I drop them 1.
All right. Now, my explanation for 21 Dallas moving up 5 spots, it's not. This was more about getting them ahead of Carolina, who they just beat,
Sure.
versus them really thinking this is where they should be. Like and I'm looking at it and I see some issues on my board with some other teams. So Carolina dropped 1 after lost to Dallas. Cleveland dropped 1. Saints dropped 1. 49ers dropped 1. And it's all because I wanted to get Dallas above Carolina, and I didn't. I think Carolina's right around the right spot.
Sure.
So all these other teams dropped. Also, all these other teams lost. So
yeah, so it was an easy shuffle. I got what you're saying. Yeah. All right. Yeah. For me at 21, I've got Dallas. I dropped them 1. 22, the Saints. I dropped them 3. A lot of their stuff is just this quarterback situation. It's just hard to trust them right now. 23, I got the Colts. I moved them up 2, which was really just because this is where I draw my line of the eliminated teams, and they haven't been eliminated yet, so they got to pop up above that line. 24, I've got the Bears. I dropped them 1. 25, I've got the Panthers. I dropped them 1.
sorry, I wanted to look something up real quick.
That's cool. You want me to keep going with mine? Do 26 through 30?
No. I just want to get it loaded, and then because there's something with the Colts that I remembered, and I wanted to look at my notes. So
Sure.
I'm at 26. Jets. I moved them up 4. It's not because I think the Jets belong here. It's again, they just beat Jacksonville, which I literally have to put them ahead of Jacksonville, who I dropped 2 to 27. Then Patriots dropped 1, Titans dropped 1, and the Raiders dropped 1, all off losses, and the Jets won. So it was kind of an easy, quick shuffle.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, so me at 26, I got the Browns. They didn't move. Then I got the Jets. They went up 1. The Jags, they went down 1. The Raiders, they stayed the same. And then the Titans, they stayed the same. I will say this, despite the loss, Jacksonville has been showing signs of life in recent weeks. And so maybe that was a team that needed to do a quarterback change sooner. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Jags, man. They just have had a confusing as fuck season. A lot of wasted talent on that team this year. So when you're ready, my man, dumpster fired up.
All right. Before I went to the dumpster fire, so
Yeah.
I touched on if the Broncos, Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals all lose, then all
Yeah.
7 playoff teams will be determined. If the Ravens, Texans, and Bills all lose, then the bye week and the division winners will be determined. So the last 2 weeks of the season just about seeding for 5, 6, 7, which is crazy that it is like that.
Oh yeah.
But what I was looking at, I don't know. Oh, okay, so I, a lot of what my notes were, what I was looking up was if how about the Colts had to do with all that stuff I had already talked about. So, anyways, dumpster fire, no change from last week. I have the Giants at 31 and the Bears at 32. One thing with the Bears that I've been reading a lot is a lot of people on ESPN, NFL Network, Sports Talk Radio are predicting that after this season, two things. One, Caleb Williams is going to demand a trade.
I could see it. He's that kind of guy, it seems like, right?
Yeah, but the other thing with it is that I'm seeing a lot is there's a lot of talk. Two things that I'm seeing a lot. We're talking about coaches. There's a lot of talk about the Bears trading for who was it? For Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan, man, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I'm seeing, and I don't know what it is, and I don't know where it is, but I'm reading that Vrabel's next coaching job has already been decided.
Ooh, that's interesting. I want to see him come back.
But I'm reading it's college.
Oh, gotcha. I see. I want him back in the NFL, but okay, all right.
I'm reading that at the end of the college season, Ohio State is going to fire Ryan Day and hire Vrabel as their head coach.
Gotcha. All right. That's interesting.
Which is unfortunate because I think he could be a great fucking NFL coach.
He just got a raw deal in Tennessee, man. Their roster got shittier and shittier every year he was there.
And he kept winning and winning and winning. And
until that final year, yeah. The wheels finally fell off.
Yeah. So
so with Chicago, I did see something just earlier today that they were saying on NFL Network that they have the worst record in NFL history for a team that started the year 4-2.
Wait, what?
So I guess out of however many teams have started the year 4-2.
I heard 4-12, and I was like,
no. They've gone on the worst skid of any team to start the year 4-2.
Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I thought we were gonna, I don't know, I mean, hey, rookie quarterback, it caught up to him, right? But I'm surprised that they fell off the way they did, because you would have thought they were only going to get better as the season went on, and they did not. So, but yeah, my dumpster fire stayed the same, James. I got the Patriots at 31 and the Giants at 32. I would love to kind of shake it up a little bit, because I do see, some positive things for the Patriots with Drake May in the future, but they got to win something before I can move them. So, yeah. And they're eliminated, so it's kind of, I'm not very motivated to move them now. So. All right, when you're ready.
Speaking of,
take the. Oh yeah.
There were more teams eliminated this past week, because with in the NFC, I don't think any other. I think the Bears were eliminated this past week, and Carolina was eliminated this past week. Carolina could only win the division, but Washington cannot get the number 1 seed now.
Okay.
And Seattle cannot get a top. It was eliminated. Seattle, Atlanta, Tampa Bay were all eliminated from top 2 seeds. So the top seed is either going to be the NFC North winner or the NFC East winner.
Yeah.
And Dallas's only chance to make the playoffs is as a 7 seed.
Gotcha. I got you, homie. I got you.
All right, you ready to move on to picks?
I sure am.
Is this math right? Is your math right?
It
Um,
helps when you double check it.
I guess it is. I guess I was down 7. I was thinking I was down 6. So I got one game back up on one game on you.
Yep.
Made some flyers and some picks that I thought were possible. Didn't pan out. Um, I got 11 right this past week. You got 10. Season total gives me 150. You 156.
Yep.
That's 66.96% for me and 69.64% for you.
I mean, I can round it up to 70, but it was just better last week when it was above 70.
Yeah. We have a lot of
A lot of action.
if I don't change anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the one that we're talking about changing, we would both maybe change. So it's like, well,
All
no,
right,
hey,
first up,
it's good to have the action, right? And I looked at this, after I saw you pop it through, and I can see all of these games that we have divide on really going either way. I mean, maybe one of them I feel a little bit more convicted about, but I do think that this is a good week to have this disparity between picks.
so first up we have the Denver Broncos at the Chargers.
Yes.
And this is the one I was really torn on. I seriously, I struggle with this pick. I still struggle with this pick because I think Denver's playing better, but it's in LA. It's on Thursday night. I
Yeah.
think the Chargers had with the loss to Tampa Bay. I think the Chargers could look to rebound, but Denver just beat the
Denver's
Colts.
just fucking rolling, man.
Yeah, and that's where I was torn on it. I ended up going with Denver. I just think Denver's playing better football right now,
Yeah.
and that was my deciding factor. Like I have them close in the power rankings, so if I go with your theory, would I have them like 2 spots apart? If I go with your theory, when they're close, go with the home team, it would be the Chargers. But I just think Denver is the better team right now.
Yeah.
I don't think talent-wise Denver is a better team, but I think they're playing better football right now.
Yeah, they're phenomenal on defense. They're doing great stuff with a rookie quarterback. It's hard to knock them. And so to your point, I have Denver 1 spot above the Chargers now in my power rankings, but because it's at home and it's that close in the power rankings, I'm giving the game to the Chargers. Um, I did that last week with the 49ers and the Rams, and it didn't work out for me. So, the thing is, I am concerned because I did hear Justin Herbert's dealing with an ankle injury,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little bit of doubt about what's going on with him going into tomorrow. But I'm going to stick with it. I still do like the Jim Harbaugh story with the Chargers. Even though, I was kind of like down on him earlier talking about the Dobbins injury in the running game and Quentin Johnston dropping passes and whatnot. I'm sticking to my methodology that's got me here this far, so I'm going Chargers.
All right. Then we have the Houston Texans. And also for those bettors out there, there's 2 games on Saturday this week, as I previously mentioned. You have the first game on Saturday, which is the Texans at the Chiefs. And I made this pick assuming that
Mahomes would be out.
Mahomes was out, and now with what I'm reading, I don't know. This is going to literally be a game time decision.
Yeah.
On whether or not Mahomes is playing or not. If Mahomes is playing, I think Kansas City wins, but I'm right now under the assumption that Mahomes isn't playing, so I went with Houston.
I'm the exact same as you, dude. You know, as we get to Saturday morning, if we hear some update on Mahomes, maybe we both flip it or whatever. But I'm taking Houston, just expecting Mahomes to be out. And Mahomes has had a lot of ankle issues over the years, and so it's you know he can play through it. I just wonder why they would push him to play through it when, kind of like you mentioned earlier, they do have a little bit of a buffer that they don't need to
They
put him in harm's way.
they only have a 1 game buffer though.
Okay, so let him take the one game, man. You know, because the
Because
ankle, it can
if they
change drastically in a week for better or for worse.
yeah, so the if they lose because Buffalo is 10-3. Okay, yeah. So they have to lose 2 games. They have to go
Okay,
1-2 for they have to go 1-2, and Buffalo has to go 3-0 because Buffalo has the tiebreaker. Okay, so yeah, I'd rest Mahomes, but and who knows, maybe you can get a Buffalo mistake against the Patriots, which we'll get to that in a little bit. Next game we have the Steelers at the Ravens, and again, if I went with your theory, I have the Steelers 1 ahead of the Ravens, but it's at Baltimore, and this
yeah.
is also subject to change depending on what's going on with T.J. Watt because Pittsburgh is a different team with T.J. Watt than they are without T.J. Watt than they are with him.
Oh, big
So,
time. Yeah.
but right now, and I might leave this, I might change it. Right now, I have Pittsburgh winning the game in a close game, but we will see when it comes closer to game time.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I've got Baltimore for the reason that you mentioned. I will say that my hesitancy with Baltimore, you know, obviously it's hard to ever go against Tomlin, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in this particular matchup, I thought I saw something that Pittsburgh won. It's like 7 of the last 8 or 8 of the last 9, something like that. It was pretty significant, man.
Yeah, it is. I can pull it real quick, but it's fairly lopsided towards Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And so I'm going to still take Baltimore in this game, but that's obviously a cause for concern.
Let me see. Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore. It is. So Pittsburgh has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the last 9
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
over. But in addition to that, oh, why is this fucking ad right in the middle of my screen? All right, so they've lost. Pittsburgh's won 8 of the last 9, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the last 16.
Yeah, that's a pretty big swing.
Yeah, including the last 4.
Yeah. So it makes me hesitate, but I'm sticking with Baltimore, sticking with my methodology.
Yeah, I hear you. Then we have the New York Giants at the Atlanta Falcons. What a soft ass fucking landing spot for Penix to start his first game. The lowly New York Giants. And for those fantasy players out there, yes, I already did pick him up. Um,
Good for you. Nothing wrong with throwing darts.
I might even start him this week. I'm honestly considering.
So just keep in mind that this game is wildly unpredictable because you've got what's his face starting for the Giants at quarterback. Um, and then, the Giants defense, at least earlier in the year, they were one of the best pass rushing defenses. And so, they could end up really putting a lot of pressure on Penix, but, I'm taking Atlanta. It just is, I could see this game going either way because you've got so many unknowns going into it.
Well, the other thing is we're smack dab in the fantasy playoffs, and Tua is now listed as questionable. He's my other quarterback.
Oh boy.
And I didn't see. I knew he was questionable. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Tua with a hip. Oh fuck.
Yep, hip and Tua, they don't get along. Well, it's better than concussion. So.
Yeah, it's better than concussion, but still, it's
his
not
old college
not
injury,
good.
maybe.
Yeah, his old college injury. But the but the Giants defense is not so total yards per game. The Giants are allowing 344.
I have a hard time looking at some of the stats for the Giants because you know that their offense has done them no favors at all this year.
Yeah. So,
but their offense probably isn't going to do them any favors in this game either. DeVito, that's their quarterback. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but they're also overall. I don't know what to do, but I always do ride. My decision on the game was I always like to ride that quarterback that's
the new guy that can be unpredictable.
That can be unpredictable and there's no real film on them. Look at like Mike White, whoever the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Had a huge game, and all these quarterbacks that there's no NFL film on, so there's no real way to prepare for them.
It's that surprise factor.
With the pass rush, Penix is more mobile than Cousins, so that's going to help him. But also the mobility also will potentially could either one of two things lead to less pass. Well, it could lead to less passing yards, but it could also lead to more rushing yards, which you get more points for rushing yards, and he could take some of those rushing TDs away from Bijan Robinson or the running backs, whoever's fuck else is scoring for him, with his mobility. With that all being said, I'm on Atlanta not just because of I'm riding the quarterback thing, but also Atlanta's a desperate team against a team that is desperate to get that number one pick.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of the number one pick, it is currently the Giants have a strength of schedule that's harder, or that would beat the Raiders out for the number one pick, but it's potential if the laws of average pan out the rest of the season and both teams lose out, then the Raiders could get the number one pick. So the Giants need one of the Raiders teams that they lost to, or one of the teams the Raiders played to win a game that unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And it'd be like if there's one extra win, the strength of the schedule would be like a that was like 0.017 advantage the Giants would have on the strength of the schedule to get the number one pick. Anyways, one of the few games we don't have any action on.
Yeah.
Then we have the Cardinals at the Panthers. Unless you wanted to go back to talk more about the Falcons benching Cousins, which I don't think you.
No, we'll get to that in the question of the week. But yeah, keep going, bud.
So I am wholeheartedly. I'm on the fence with the Panthers, but I'm wholeheartedly on the Panthers in this game. The reason why I'm on the Panthers in this game is because I just don't trust the Cardinals. I don't trust them,
Yeah.
and I think Carolina, with it being in Carolina, this is where I kind of pulled a a U card where I have them relatively close together, but it's at Carolina, and I think Kyler's going to have struggles in this game. Maybe a 20-17 game,
Yeah.
17-12 game, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, our boards are a little different, right? And so I've got Arizona 6 spots ahead of Carolina. If I had them a couple closer, I would probably go Carolina because I kind of think, and you've been putting it on my radar that, Bryce Young's been looking a lot better in recent weeks, and that's been, sort of like a leaps and bounds difference for Carolina overall. And I've been hearing that on NFL Network too, and a lot of different sources. On the flip side, Arizona has been super fucking streaky. It's super hard to fucking rely on. And so that's like my big hesitation in this game. But yeah, the bottom line is, if they were maybe 4 spots apart, I might flip a coin and go Carolina. But 6 spots apart on my board, I'm just going to stick with Arizona.
Then we have the Lions at the Bears. This is the second outdoor game of the season for the Lions. Goff played well in as well as you could in the torrential, ridiculous weather in Green Bay in the last one. My concern in this game is the injuries. Also, with the injuries on the defense, the rushing defense of the Lions has fallen off the cliff.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks, and talking fantasy points, I don't know what it amounts to yards. I saw a stat. They've allowed 24 fantasy points to running backs over the last 2 games.
Yeah.
And the Bears had a
DeAndre Swift revenge game.
The Bears on Thanksgiving had a dipshit moment up by their coach that cost them the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't cost them the game, but it cost
them a chance
in the game.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I'm not picking against the Lions.
Yeah, I'm with you. We still got to back them. We still, the Dan Campbell grit, like it's, I still have a ton of faith in them. I just, if they were playing one of my top 5 teams on my board, I might be compelled to flip, but I don't want to do it, especially against the fucking Bears. And I did hear that Dan Campbell's been making them practice outside all week to get him used to that cold weather. So, and it'll be nice and nipply in Chicago for sure. But it's all right, man. It's a divisional game. They're hurt, but they're gonna come out playing hard. And fingers crossed, man. You just got to hope that they find a way to persevere.
All right. Then we have Matthew Stafford at Aaron Rodgers. Los Angeles Rams at the New York Jets.
Do we skip the Titans and Colts?
Oh, we did. Let's go to the Titans and Colts.
All right.
I just don't like what I see out of the Colts. This was just kind of like a gut check pick, and my first instinct was the Titans, so I went with it. I don't have anything to back it. It's just I don't like what I see out of the Colts. I like sometimes what I see out of the Titans. So
yeah. So didn't Jonathan Taylor just have the dipshit moment and fumble before going into the end zone?
You mean the worst fucking rule in the in all of professional football?
Well, or how about you just hold on to the ball until you cross the plane? Because nobody was even near him.
It is so fucking punitive. Like any other spot on the field, you fumble the ball forward and it goes out of bounds, you get possession where you fumble the ball. some reason that sacred end zone, it becomes a touchback. I don't understand the fucking rule. It happened twice. What was the other game it happened in?
Oh, I don't remember. You were messaging me though.
It happened in 2 games
Yeah.
this weekend. The other game was Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense, they had a fumble recovery, and he was about to score, and he was like, he didn't drop the ball, like he was changing hands for some stupid reason with the ball,
Yeah.
and he lost control of it. And I was it Battle was that the player's name?
Okay.
I think his last name was, I think it was Battle. And then the ball went back to whoever the fuck Cincinnati was playing, to the Browns. It was, I know, no, that was the Browns. That's this coming week. I didn't think that sounded right. It was the Titans. Didn't end up costing them the game, but it was Jordan Battle. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like that rule at all.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, I hear you, man.
I don't.
I hear you. And so with this matchup, I think Tennessee is looking damn good on defense. I think the switch back to Mason Rudolph is ultimately better for their offense. I was saying it earlier when they made the switch to him. But I think Indy has more upside potential. And that's what I'm going with in this game. It's in Indy. I do still have them higher on my board and all that. So I'm respecting all my rules and everything. But this is another one of these games this week that we're talking about. I could definitely see it going either way. So this isn't for anybody who's watching. This isn't James getting nervous at the end of the year, taking a lot of shots. This is just legitimately one of those weeks where you have a lot of games that are very hard to call, in my opinion.
All right. Now we're going to Matthew Stafford at Aaron Rodgers. You just said I'm not taking a lot of shots.
No, I'm saying in past years when I would be up at the end, you would wait for my picks, and then you would almost instantly just flip half of them and be like, well, I got to catch up, right? So, this isn't James throwing a Hail Mary. This is that this week is a really weird kind of week to pick the games.
Yeah. Well, no, it fit well into what I was about to say.
Okay.
It fit perfectly in because I'm taking a shot on this game.
Do it.
Matthew Stafford is 4-13 in the regular season against Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Stafford, you dirty bastard.
I didn't think of that up until now. I had sent you the Rams
Yes.
as my pick. I'm going to flip to the Jets.
You want to ride that high from last week with Rodgers and Devontae Adams too, don't you?
That and Stafford, or not Stafford, Rodgers is he's trying to prove he can still play.
Yeah, because he knows that this is it, right? The Jets are letting go of him. He needs some other team to give him a chance.
Exactly. And I don't like Stafford. Granted, some of those Detroit teams that Stafford was on against
garbage Lions teams, yep.
Were garbage Lions teams, but
most of them.
But they played in 2021. I'm not even seeing the score. Why the fuck doesn't it list the fucking score? They played in 2021 with the Rams. and it was Green Bay. When he was still in Green Bay, obviously. 2021 Los Angeles Rams season. And he lost
Okay.
to Green Bay in 2021. And that was the Super Bowl winning season.
Gotcha.
So he was playing at a high level and still lost to Rodgers then. And the Packers finished that season with a good record. It was a good, killing my argument a little bit, but
that was a LaFleur era, like probably 12-win season or some shit.
13.
13, yeah. They've been fucking rock solid with LaFleur, man. Rock solid with him.
Yeah. They lost. What? Hell. Their fourth loss was to the Lions on week 18.
Okay.
I just find that funny. And then they did shit in the playoffs. They lost in the divisional game to the 49ers, 13-10.
Gotcha.
Either way, I'm gonna go with Rodgers and the Jets.
Gotcha. All right. Well, no, nothing wrong with that, man. And you get some stuff to back it up, which is always respectable. They're so far apart on my board. I got to go with the Rams, even though it's in New York. I do think that the Rams are still fighting and still trying, and the Jets are, you got one guy, maybe two, just kind of auditioning for teams, and otherwise they're just down and out. So I'm sticking with the Rams.
All right. And then we're with the Eagles and the Commanders. This is a must-win game for Washington if they want to win the division. And they will win the game.
Oh, you're flipping again.
It's kind of a gut feeling. I think the Lions also kind of need Philadelphia to lose to get a little bit of space there.
This is going to be our biggest week of disparity, I'm sure, if we could go back and look at the picks. I've never had this much yellow on the board. It's Washington's been a great story this year, and I do have Washington fairly high on my board, but I have Philly, 7 spots higher, and so it's even though it's in Washington, like if I was 3-4 games apart, I'd be more comfortable doing the flip, but 7 games is too much, and I just got done earlier talking about how I think Philly's one of the most well-rounded teams in football. So, despite the A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts drama, they know how to win games. And, Saquon Barkley has been sort of like the missing piece for them this year to kind of get them back on track with their offensive tempo. Vic Fangio has gotten the defense where it needs to be. I mean, it's hard to go against Philly, man, for me.
Then we have Minnesota Nope. I skipped this game because there's not much to talk about. 2 teams that are kind of down and out this year. I think if Jameis was playing, I might have more confidence with Cleveland instead of what's his face, DTR. What the fuck?
Dorian Thompson Robinson.
Dorian Thompson. I couldn't think of his first name. I was like Dominique. No.
Yeah. I like DTR, but not that much.
Yeah. So I'm on Cincinnati. There's not much to talk about in this game. Cincinnati keeps that glimmer of hope for the playoffs alive.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing, Cincinnati, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a coaching change in Cincinnati after this year, even though I don't think there will be. I think there should be, but I'm taking Cincy.
Sorry, my work phone was going crazy, so I was like, oh shit. All right. Then we have Minnesota at Seattle. It's kind of for Seattle's hopes to win the division. It's almost becoming a must-win for them. Plus, after that dismal performance this past week, I think they're going to be looking to bounce back. I'm going to take Seattle. In this game,
Sure.
I'm thinking
12th man.
12th man, outdoors. I'm thinking it's going to be like 30-20.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the Vikings here. This is respecting the board again, and I mean, actually, I do want to check this one to see how far apart they are. Yeah, this one's it's pretty big. I got them 11 spots apart. I got Minnesota up pretty high, and I think Minnesota smells blood in the water with Detroit. They know they got to keep fucking pushing hard and win games, and they have been. We talk about the good stories in the NFL with Denver and Washington, and obviously the biggest fucking unsung story is what Brian Flores did with the Minnesota Vikings defense, and then Sam Darnold being like phenomenal for that offense. And so they hit on like two different fronts that is just it almost never happens that way with a team in an offseason, and especially one that Minnesota looked like they were in a fucking rebuild. But I'm taking the Vikings, but yeah, you can't put anything past the 12th man and all that stuff, especially when the division's on the line. But yeah, I'm with Minnesota.
All right. Then we have the Patriots at the Bills. It's going to be first of all, have you seen the uniforms the Bills are going to be wearing for this game?
Is it pure white because they're hoping for snow?
No. Um, I'll find it and send it to you. But my first thought was,
I did hear,
what?
yeah. Oh man, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I did hear there was going to be some kind of holiday flair on the Christmas uniforms. I haven't seen what it is yet. I just heard something about it, but I had to get that out before I lost the thought in my head, man.
Yeah. So I'll find it, and I honestly saw it, and my first thought was
For Buffalo.
for Buffalo, and my first thought was, why are they wearing Patriots jerseys?
Oh, gotcha. Psych. You're going to be throwing us the ball.
Let me see if I can. So they're wearing red jerseys with white pants.
Okay.
I'll send it to you, and like you'll look at it and you'll be like,
Yeah.
if it weren't for the helmet, I honestly was like, why are they wearing? Why the fuck are they wearing New England jerseys? Where the fuck did I say that at? Yeah. Desktop. There it is. Let's see if that sounds right. Nope, because it's the wrong.
Okay.
Let me try this again. There we go. Here you go. I just sent it in the chat.
All right, let me see here.
It looks to me like fucking a New
Man,
England.
my computer is fucking going weird as fuck tonight, but oh yeah, that is weird, yeah. Uniform combo. So many fucking different uniforms now, but I mean, I kind of like it, but yeah,
I
I
like it,
wouldn't.
but like my first thought was New England.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. All
Oh
right.
fuck! You know what we forgot in the news?
I don't know.
Speaking of New England, we talked a little bit about it. It's not necessarily NFL
Oh,
news,
yeah.
but Belichick did officially become the head coach at the University of North Carolina.
Yes, but did he get the
Interesting,
clause for his son to succeed him?
interesting, interesting clause in the contract. There's a buyout clause from Belichick to the University of North Carolina. If it happens before June of 2025, it's $10 million.
He pays to them,
He pays them $10 million.
so he's hedging his bet to go back to the
If
NFL.
if it happens after it's June or July of 2025, it drops down to $1 million.
Huh.
He has to pay
I
them.
think that was smart on the school's part,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to deny that he's in striking distance of Shula's record that he could be tempted to go back to the NFL. And here's the thing: for 10 million, let's say, I don't know.
Well, but he's getting 10 million a year.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, let's say I am, an NFL team that's like, you know what? I still believe in Bill Belichick. Uh, NFL teams have so much money. I could see them saying, "Hey, man, we'll buy you out of that contract breaker because we want you that bad and we believe in you." But and for him, it would be, "Hey, I got it at a number where it's not going to scare away an NFL team if they really truly want me." If it was fucking 30, 40 million or something, it's like, okay, well, you're there, you're not leaving.
Yeah, so he signed a 5-year deal, first three, 30 million guaranteed. A clause allows a buyout before June 1st of 2025, it's $10 million. After that, it's $1 million. If he wins, when there's number of games, appearance, CFP, non-CFP, um, bonuses, uh, termination prior to December 31st, 2027, base salary and supplemental income through that guaranteed in contract, years 4 and 5 not guaranteed, termination, obviously he's due for taxables, expenses, housing, car allowance, blah. Assistant coach salary pool, 10 million, 1 million for strength and support staff, 5.3, $100,000 for location expenses. He gets 13 million revenue sharing. It is not a clause. It's not looking like there's a clause in his contract about his son.
Okay. Because, yeah, I just remember you saying something about that originally, right? That he wanted them basically to agree that his son would take over as the head coach when he retired or left or whatever.
Yeah, so it's not. Oh, this is kind of like a memorandum of understanding, not a contract that I'm reading. because it says, quote, "It is understood and agreed that this proposal of terms and conditions shall not constitute a binding agreement, and the parties intend to negotiate expeditiously and in good faith to finalize these terms and conditions into a long-form agreement." So there could be something in the long-form agreement. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything about his son, but anyways, back to the game picks. Buffalo, New England. New England's in the trash. Buffalo really needs this game, so Buffalo wins it, but I think it's closer than we anticipate.
Divisional games, they've got that tendency, right? And so I hear you on that. But yeah, I've got Buffalo as my new number one. I'm not going to abort them against New England. So yeah, I'm going Buffalo.
All right, then we have the Raiders. Jacksonville at the Raiders. There's not much to talk about in this game. Raiders are vying for the number one pick. Raiders probably lose this game on purpose because they're
because they want a quarterback. Even though I don't know that this is the draft for it, but
one thing I've been reading, and this might boil your blood a little bit. It boils mine a little bit. Is what's his face? Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
Has told the Giants that if they get the number one pick,
he ain't going.
I ain't going there.
Yeah, fucking baby.
Fucking Phillip Rivers all over again.
Eli Manning
all over again.
And John Elway.
What the you know what? You want to be the number one pick. You want to get the money of the number one pick. You fucking go who drafts you. If you don't like it, go sit out a fucking
year. You were sure as shit smart enough to know this probably when you were 10 years old that this is how the college to NFL thing worked. It's a fucking honor. Millions of fucking people would trade to be in your shoes. And you're just going to fucking piss on it because you think you're too good for it? Oh, okay.
Another thing I've been reading about it is that Shador Sanders and Dion are a package deal. Whoever drafts Shador has to employ Dion as a coach.
I mean, I'm a little curious to see what Dion could do in the NFL.
I am too, but
yeah, that's that takes up the just the shadiness a notch, right? You got to bring him with me, or we go together. And I mean, hey, if that's the case, it could be the Raiders, right? Because Antonio Pierce is probably out, and so they'll be looking for a head coach.
Didn't say head coach.
Well, didn't say head coach. Sure, I hear you, but I'm just saying that could be the logical. Okay, he's coming in as the head coach, and his kid's getting drafted, and and there we go. Everybody's fucking happy, and we're going to try this experiment, which, could work or it could fucking blow up in all of our faces.
Dion has also been at Raiders events with Pierce, talking about how great Shador would be for the Raiders being coached by Pierce.
Ah, all right. Huh. It's interesting. All right, but yeah, back to this game. I'm with you on the Jags, the Raiders. And here's the thing. I just don't see Pierce staying another year. I don't see that they're going to do it. I like him. I like him as a defensive coordinator, but I think his ascendance to head coach was a little premature. And I hope that, if he gets fired, I hope somebody brings him on as a defensive coordinator quickly so that he can keep that trajectory going.
Mm-hmm. Then we're on to, so you're on Jacksonville also?
Yes.
We're on to the 49ers at the Dolphins. And I sent you the pick as Miami. And this is dependent on Tua playing. If
That's a good
Tua's
point.
playing, if Tua's not playing, I'm going to pick, based on what I'm reading, there's a higher likelihood that Tua's not going to play than play.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that big, but okay.
Based on that, I'm going to put my pick out there as the 49ers.
Okay, so you want San Francisco for now.
For now, San Francisco. It's subject to change on Sunday once at 4 o'clock or whenever inactives are announced, depending on if Tua's playing or not.
All right. Yeah, and I'll stick with Miami, but that's good to know because, yeah, I mean, then the buck's on me to flip it if that happens. So, okay.
All right, I want to look up. Then we're Dallas or Tampa Bay at Dallas.
I tell you what, I do see Dallas trying to get around Cooper Rush. You know, they're trying to back him. The defense is trying to rally. The running game's trying to get going. You know, CeeDee Lamb looks like he's really trying to, be a contributor. I just, man, I have no faith in Dallas, man. And Tampa Bay, they have been another one of those really good stories with Baker Mayfield, and it's a continuation from last year, obviously. But Tampa Bay has been one of those teams too that has been banged up and had a lot of injuries all year and just been finding ways to persevere. And so I'm taking the Bucks, man. I know it's in Dallas. I just am not, I like Cooper Rush. I just can't trust him.
Yeah, this is like one of those picks, and I hemmed and hawed on it, and I know I sent you Dallas, but like
You flipping?
I'm flipping to Tampa Bay. Like I want Dallas. I kind of want Dallas to win the game, but I just can't. Like, although Baker has kind of struggled a little bit lately, I can't stick with Dallas. Is too far down my board, and I just moved Tampa into my top 10, so I'm gonna go with Tampa.
Okay.
Monday night game, which also that's a kind of a shitty Sunday night game. I'm just gonna say, but there's not that many other better options that could have flexed to Sunday night. So maybe Minnesota, Seattle, or Philadelphia, Washington, but those were probably protected games. Anyways, Monday night, the lowly Saints at the Green Bay Packers. Derek Carr was playing. I was sure about Alvin Kamara playing, I may consider an upset here. But the state of the Saints versus the state of the Packers right now, I can't pick that. Like, it's just, like, nothing surprises me in the NFL. But little surprises me about the NFL.
Yeah,
but
any given Sunday, or in this case, Monday.
Yeah, but I think the Packers are just hands down the better team in this game.
Yeah.
And I think the Packers just have a better coach.
Yeah. I think LaFleur is one of the best coaches. He's in that top tier. And they're, like we talked about earlier, they're healthy. They're very well-rounded. New Orleans, they have talent for sure in pockets all around the team. But they're also hurt in pockets all around the team. And There are just too many question marks. So I got to go Green Bay, man.
Mm-hmm. Then we're on to Christmas Day, Kansas City at Pittsburgh.
Yay! Merry Christmas.
This is subject to change based on the injury report and everything, and what's going on with Mahomes, what's going on with Watt. Like, I picked this based on what I saw on, was it Sunday, on Sunday's game with Kansas City. Based on what I saw with Mahomes and what I was reading, I thought he was going to be out multiple weeks.
Okay.
So I made this pick based on that. I don't think Carson Wentz can beat Pittsburgh.
No, I don't think so. I mean, anything could happen, but I don't see it.
But so I'm going with Pittsburgh, assuming Mahomes is going to be out. But I wouldn't be surprised if come Christmas, come Tuesday, come Monday even, I'm changing this.
Yeah, after this week's games, everything's subject to be reevaluated, right? That's just kind of how it always is. I've got Pittsburgh in this one, and this is where it's strange with my board, right? Because I got Kansas City at 2, and I got Pittsburgh at 7, and so it's in Pittsburgh. It's a 5 spot difference in the board, but I kind of talked about Pittsburgh. I mean, not Pittsburgh. Kansas City to me is like a little bit artificially high because they just don't lose. That I don't really like, my conviction for them being number 2, it's thin. It's that they do it, they find ways, and it's hard to go against them. But I also have mad respect for Tomlin and what he does, and so this is one where even though it's 5 across, I'm going with Pittsburgh. It may be a little bit more than my normal threshold, but that's my reasoning, and I'm sticking to it.
We have also the second game on Christmas. We have Baltimore at Houston. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably won't see much, if any, of either of these games. I hate NFL games on Christmas because Christmas is too busy for me.
Yeah.
But
I'll have them on in the background.
See, it depends on where I am.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at home, I'll have them on in the background. But if we go.
Yeah, it's out of your control depending on where you go.
Yeah. Baltimore, I think, is by far the better team. Also, ridiculously, Lamar Jackson, his TD to interception ratio is like 34-3 this season. I'll get the.
Yeah, he's having an MVP-esque year, right? So
yeah, I'll get the exact stat in a minute.
Yeah.
But
man, I don't know why. I just fucking don't like Lamar.
I don't like him either. I don't know why either.
But he is having a great year. Maybe it's because he's, I don't know. I mean, we talked about it in his earlier days where he really could only throw to the tight end, and he sucked outside the hash marks, and and it just was, well, one day he's going to get hurt running the ball, and and he's actually been really good at protecting himself, and he's kind of like slowly developed as a passer, and so I don't know. I should probably just kick myself in the ass and get a little bit more on board with the guy, but it just, I don't know. It's muscle memory at this point, James. It's muscle memory.
All right. So this season he has a 68% completion rating, 35, almost 3,600 yards. Call it 3,600, close enough. 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 21 times though.
Yeah.
Which apparently the picture I just sent you just finally sent. I just got to pop up. But his passer rating so far this season's 120.7.
That's fucking high, dude. Oh.
I agree with you. Something about him, I don't know. Like I think coming into the league, he got a raw deal with everyone saying, "Oh, he should switch to receiver," and talking but he just. The thing I know exactly what the thing I have against Lamar. It's like to me. He doesn't care about winning, and he always gets hurt.
Yeah.
He's always out at critical times, and he doesn't win the big games. Either way, I think Baltimore in a close game, let's call it. Oh shit! I just saw. I had found this weekly this projections thing. Projecting the scores each week, and on ESPN, and it has Baltimore losing to Houston 34-14.
Whoa. Okay. They just think it's a
Wow.
good matchup for Houston, apparently.
Let's see what they say about it.
I mean, I'm with you, though. I'm taking Baltimore while you look it up.
Yeah, it doesn't say much about it. I'm with Baltimore, but all right. Then we have Thursday night, day after Christmas, Boxing Day in some countries. Do you know what Boxing Day is?
So I heard something about is it the deal where you like switch roles with your boss for a day?
No, no.
What's
Boxing
that
Day is
one?
the official holiday. I don't fucking know.
Of throwing out all your empty boxes?
No, Boxing Day
I should
in
know
the
this, by the way, but I don't.
it's Boxing Day is day to donate those gifts to those in need, but it's evolved into returning your unwanted gifts.
All right, so yeah, no, so all right, so in Canada, Boxing Day has a tradition where the officers of the company switch roles with their service members as a way of them basically getting to like, walk a mile in the other person's shoe. But yeah, you're giving me probably a more global or international Boxing Day.
Yeah. So, well, Boxing Day is a federal holiday in Canada, so therefore they don't work.
Yeah. Well, the government. Of course, I don't know. It's Canada. Maybe they all have the day off. Oh, so that's the joke. That's the joke. Hey, we're gonna switch roles with you for a day. Oh, but we're not working. Ha ha, gotcha.
So,
Oh, that's
so
just a dick move for Canada, man. And of course, they're too polite to fight back to their bosses.
yeah. So basically, in like it started in like the UK or whatever, and it was like people like, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Tradesmen would
Sure.
collect Christmas boxes of money or presents the day after Christmas to donate to Goodwill. And employers would give each servant a box to take home containing gifts, bonuses, blah, 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 blah. And then says until the 20th century, there continued to be a tradition among UK to give Christmas gifts, usually cash, to vendors, although not on Boxing Day because as many would not work on that day.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's where like employers give presents to employees. But it's really, now the holiday celebrated to return or donate your unwanted Christmas gifts.
Sure. So give me your Boxing Day pick then, James.
Oh, I didn't want to pick this game.
Why,
I
you
did.
think Chicago's going to do some upset action?
I think Chicago has a chance to do some upset action in this game. Um,
They were taking swings at Minnesota, man. They just couldn't pull them off.
yeah, I think there's a chance for them, for Chicago to win. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a really close game. I'm going to go with Seattle, but I'm not very confident in that pick.
Okay. I'm taking Seattle, and I'm not going to sweat it. Maybe after this week, maybe I see something I get nervous about, but I mean, it is in Chicago. It's going to be cold as fuck, but Seattle gets
But
some pretty
Seattle gets
nasty
cold as
weather
fuck
too.
and gets
So
shitty
yeah,
weather. Yeah.
yeah. So whatever. I'm going Seattle, man.
All right. So that's the picks.
Yay, game picks.
Next week we're regularly scheduled time, regularly scheduled channel. What's your question of the week?
Shit. Next week, are we regular scheduled time? We probably are, right?
Well, our choice is Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, day after Christmas. Obviously we have those 4 days, but I think because we're Wednesday this week, we're Friday next week.
Yeah. We're good. We're good. All right. Yeah. Question of the week. Sorry, just needed to check my shit here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Talking about Cousins, it looks pretty obvious that he's out with Atlanta, and he's going to be going somewhere new. And I believe you were mentioning to me on Messenger that he's got a no trade clause, and so that complicates things, but also puts things sort of in his favor. I went through and I was looking at the list of teams that could be quarterback needy this year, and I came up with the Giants, the Titans, the Jets, and the Raiders. I didn't really see anybody else that I thought was feasible, at least. But there's always some kind of shakeups, and you just never really know, right? But I guess I just wanted for question of the week to ponder where do you think he's going to end up next year? And this is just a free ball session, man. Like out of these teams, and maybe you'll come up with like one that I didn't think of, but out of these teams, the interesting one for me would be if the Giants were serious about keeping Dable and they wanted a good veteran quarterback, I could see it having some kind of fit because Cousins is running out of options, right? And then the other one that I think is a little bit appealing to me is the Titans because I think that they're ready to abort Levis and their defense is looking great. You've got an offensive minded head coach. Cousins could come in and elevate them probably instantly to doing better than they did this year. But for like the Jets, I don't think they want to see a retread again after the Aaron Rodgers thing didn't work for them. And then for the Raiders, I think I think they want like fresh blood and to draft a guy. And so I don't know, man. That's just my off the cuff kind of breakdown on it. What are you thinking?
All right. First, I will address what I would do if I was Cousins. Next year's salary is guaranteed.
I would say no to all the trades.
I would say no to every single trade. No.
I'm just gonna take the year off, and you're gonna pay me, motherfuckers.
Either pay me or cut me, but you're still paying me, even if I go sign with another team.
That would be
because next year's salary is fully guaranteed for Cousins.
Yeah, that would be an interesting move if he did that.
Because you know what, and if I was Cousins, I would do it, and I would do it simply for the fact that every team he's gone to has not been fully behind him.
You're right. They fucking drafted his replacement right after fucking signing him.
Drafted his replacement right after signing him from what I hear, without really telling him they were drafting the replacement.
Yeah.
Although
you would think, oh, hey, we're going to sign you to a 4-year, $180 million deal. Maybe we'll give you a heads up that, we're hedging our bet with a first-round quarterback.
Yeah.
If I was him, no, just because of that, James, I like what you're saying. Just fucking stick it back to him, kind of like what Derek Carr did, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm probably going to go to the Saints anyhow, but fuck you. I'm going to do it this way.
But the other thing of it is that I found interesting, and because I think it was Schefter tweeted it, right before the Falcons drafted Penix, Schefter said, don't be surprised if the Falcons go with a quarterback here.
Yeah.
Good for him for having that intel, whatever the fuck he got it. Now, Cousins would want to go to a contender.
With a good offensive line. That was
With a
kind of
good
his thing
offensive
before,
line.
you know? Yeah, he didn't quite get that in Minnesota. Of course, he'd love to be there this year because their offensive line has been playing really well this year. But and Atlanta had and has a good offensive line. They just fucking, they never got behind him, man. And their defense is fucking garbage. So
I'm trying to I'm coming up with a team that I don't think was on your list.
sure. Sorry, Brock Purdy, we're not going to extend you.
That one crossed my mind, but if that was going to happen, that would have happened this past offseason. Although Purdy's been playing inconsistently, I wouldn't be totally shocked if he ended in San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean the Shanahan connection, but it'd be a stretch still.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Oh man, so is Russ only on this 1 year?
I believe
Because
so.
I think Tomlin really likes Russ, man.
I think he does, but he's a little bit older than Cousins. You could get a couple more years out of Cousins than you could get out of Russ. I believe Russ was only on the 1 year deal, kind of a 1 year prove it deal with the Steelers.
Okay.
And he has proven it, but where is he?
I mean, while you're looking
Yep.
that up, it's like
It was a 1 year. Well, heck, how old is Kirk Cousins? Kirk's older. I thought he was younger. Oh no, they're the same age.
yeah, they had the fucking Russ in Wisconsin shut down
Yeah,
state.
right. But I thought Russ. I thought Russ was a couple years older, and
Okay.
he had just had the extra eligibility. But Russ was only on a 1 year contract.
All right. Yeah. So Pittsburgh's feasible.
The only other team.
I mean, could you see India boarding Richardson and saying, "Hey, man, we just want a veteran because you're just not doing it, dude."
If Indy was going to abort Richardson, they wouldn't have put him back in as a starter. I think Indy still has the hope that Richardson can pan out.
Okay. And then Cleveland, obviously, they're still fucked with Watson. So, I guess I
It's
just
like-
don't see any other teams, man.
Like realistically, like any other team I could.
He's got limited options this time around.
He does. Like the only other team I could think of is New Orleans.
Yeah.
But
I mean, could Jacksonville abort Trevor Lawrence? Probably not.
But Jacksonville's offensive line's pretty shitty.
Yeah, you're right. It sucks.
Um,
New Orleans, yeah, but then they'd have to abort Derek Carr.
They'd have to abort Derek Carr. It's not that much of a cap hit if they. So when if Atlanta were to cut Cousins, it'd be post June 1st. So then if New Orleans were to cut Derek Carr, but no, he already has like 3 fucking void years.
Yeah.
I think
So
if
your
it
gut's
was,
telling you Pittsburgh.
my gut's telling me Pittsburgh. I think if it was after next year, then
I think I'd like to see him in Pittsburgh.
I think after next year, New Orleans could cut bait with Carr
Yeah.
and save like 50 million
Yeah, and that opens up their options, yeah.
on the cap.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Pittsburgh, we know that their defense is just going to be rock solid no matter what, right? And so at least Cousins would be going into a situation where he knows the other side of the ball is going to be doing him some
Hmm.
favors. So he doesn't have to play fucking hero, right? And then the offensive line has gotten better in Pittsburgh. It has been goddamn slow getting there. And I think next year it will be even better because they got a lot of young guys getting better. Um, yeah, you've got Pickens, Fryermuth. Could you get him another weapon in the passing game? And then running wise, they could make it work. I think I'd be all right if he ended up in Pittsburgh. I think I'd feel good about that. Not that my opinion matters for anything. I just, I like the matchup like you're talking about.
I'm trying to look. Like,
And then with the Giants, it's like, dude, what do they do? Because I think if for the Giants, they got to decide: are you if you're gonna run it back with Dable, you got to get him a veteran quarterback. If you're not gonna
mhm.
run it back with Dable, you blow it up and you draft a quarterback.
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to find a truly good landing spot
Yeah.
for Cousins. Like, honestly, like, maybe it's the best situation is to sit out a year.
Well, it'd be nice for him to give the middle finger to Atlanta because they
Yeah,
certainly did it to him right after they signed him.
yeah, like, cause like, okay, so like, he's not going back to Washington. Dallas has, so basically the Giants, maybe the Bucks. I have to
No,
have
they're
to look at
pretty
Baker's
happy with
contract,
Baker,
but
man.
I'd have to look at Baker's contract. But they'd use Cousins to get Baker down. Um, Saints aren't moving on from Carr. Maybe Carolina, but would Cousins go there? Maybe San Francisco, but I think
Yeah, I
that would have
guess I
been
didn't think
last
about
year.
Carolina because it seems like Bryce Young's finally trending up, right?
Yeah, but maybe Jacksonville, but their offensive line is shit. Maybe
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Well,
Um,
and I guess it might not matter, right? Because Cousins, he might be. Yeah, I mean, he's a smart guy. He might just know, hey, my options are limited. I'm going to have to take a less than ideal situation now,
yeah, so
and
I
just
keep
lobby to get a fucking offensive line in the draft and free agency.
I keep coming back to the Jets for some reason.
I don't see them retreading after Rodgers, man.
I
But
don't
maybe.
see it either, but like for some reason, like I keep coming back to the Jets.
I
Like I
mean,
agree with
I,
you.
I could say this. If something fucking went sideways and Shanahan was like surprise fired or whatever out of the 49ers
Or if
and
he
he
was traded to,
to the Jets, I could see him being like, yeah, fuck it. It's got a great defense. I want Cousins because I know he can run my offense and we're going to have immediate traction. I could see that, but that's like asking for a lot of things to happen, right?
yeah. I just it's hard pressed. Like too many teams are strapped or hamstrung with the quarterbacks they have now.
Yep.
Like Pittsburgh could be an option. I mean, depends on like you said, Tomlin likes Russ though, but what if Russ rides off into the sunset after this year and just retires? Because I
Yeah.
could see that happen because
Yeah.
he's had a solid season.
Or if the money's not right and Pittsburgh's
Yeah,
just like, look, we're a business savvy team. We're not going to overpay you.
yeah. I mean, outside of that, like where we are now and where we are this coming off season, because like, what if Stafford finally hangs it up? He's been talking about it for
Oh
so
yeah,
long.
that could change. Yep, that could
That could
change
change it.
things.
What if?
Yeah,
What
and
if?
McVay, I'm sure, would be tempted to go after Cousins because they have a
Because he had
connection.
him. He has a
Yep.
connection from Washington.
Yeah.
So
Too
I
soon to
know
tell.
it's too soon to tell, but I would say like I would say probably the best pick is Pittsburgh. I want to look up what the odds are. So currently, odds for Cousins landing spots. Titans 4-1, Seahawks 9-2, Browns 5-1, Saints 6-1, Giants 8-1, Raiders 9-1.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So it's this order: Titans at 4-1 or plus 400, Seahawks plus 450, Browns plus 500, Saints plus 600, Giants plus 800, Raiders plus 900.
So is Geno Smith out of Seattle? I guess I'm surprised on that
I
one. And then
was,
Cleveland, I don't know. They're like in such a fucked up spot with Watson.
yeah, I was, I, that shocked me a little bit too. That Seattle,
But I could get on board with Tennessee. I think their coach and they are developing an offensive line. I would want to see them hang on to Calvin Ridley and make sure that he's got some weapons. But the defense is good. I think the offensive line is on the up. I think Tennessee could be a good fit for him.
yeah, I mean, next year, Geno Smith's still under contract with Seattle.
Yeah, maybe McDonald's saying, time for me to get my guy. Who knows?
I
I mean,
was,
they do have some sweet fucking wide receivers, and Geno kind of kind of was underwhelming this year with that crew, man. And I know they've had injuries too, but it's like, damn, man, when you have three stud wide receivers, ah, you need to be in that top tier quarterbacks,
yeah.
statistically.
But he could because okay, so if he signs with another team, the guaranteed money is prorated for what he makes with that other team.
Okay.
So he could theoretically sign with a team like the Saints for the league minimum.
Yeah, for
And
a million a year or some shit.
for like
Yeah.
a million the first year, and then after the guarantee's out,
Yep. And he's
after,
still getting his 30 million. It's just, yeah,
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
So that could
That could help him go to a team like Cleveland.
help him go to a team like Cleveland, help him go to a team like the Saints, help him go
Yeah.
to some of these teams that I I instantly checked off the list because their cap.
Well, that would be a fucking steal then for Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
God, that would be, oh my gosh, that would be like, it's almost like Pittsburgh could stack the deck to make a fucking serious fucking Super Bowl run one year, right? Like, oh, and they're a smart enough team that they could fucking game it, dude.
yeah. I'm still gonna go with my Pittsburgh pick. Like, I don't know,
Well, so
something.
this is interesting actually because now I guess I got to think about the fucking Purdy thing because if San Fran could basically just say, you know what, Purdy, it was a nice run, but we can get Cousins for $1 million and solve a shit ton of our cap problems. It gives us a year to basically reset and try to make the Super Bowl run and sort of like straighten out our cap and find another quarterback a year later or whatever. It's like, wow, like if you're the 49ers, I think you at least have to contemplate how it could work out.
But here's the thing. Brock Purdy 2025, he hasn't signed an extension yet. So his salary, his cap hit next year is just over $1 million.
Oh, so you're saying, well, you just write them out and then,
Yeah.
you don't sign them now, you just make them write it out.
Yeah. But they do have currently $66 million in cap space for next year. So they could sign Cousins for a league minimum, but I don't
Sign
know
him for a
how.
league minimum, restructure a lot of your bloated deals, and it puts you in a fucking catbird seat to do anything you want in free agency in the draft. And set your team up like solidly cap wise for a few years.
Yeah, so like they don't really have. I'm glancing at. They don't have that real like next year many bloated deals.
I mean, I guess I just figure, Trent Williams, Bosa, Warner, and then on offense you got Debo and Ayuk got paid. I mean, you got McCaffrey. It just seems like, fuck, man, how are they staying under the cap with all these fucking big name guys, man?
All right, so here it is. Debo's cap hit next year is 16 million. McCaffrey's cap hit next year is less than 10 million, and Ayuk's cap hit next year is 11 million. You were right. You're right on with Williams at 22, Bosa at 21, Warner's at 29, and Kittle at 22.
Yeah,
Those
I mean,
are
that adds up, man. But
but they still have 66 million of projected cap space next year.
what, with like nobody else under contract? I mean, it's just
No, it's
nuts.
with
It's
Bosa,
nuts.
with Charvarius Ward still under. Oh, Charvarius Ward is a void year,
Yeah, so
and
he's going to get paid.
Greenlaw's a void year.
And I mean, they might
I,
let him go because they've been good at just rotating that defensive line around Bosa. Greenlaw, linebacker. Sorry, no, they want him
yeah,
back as long as he's healthy because he was great for him until he got hurt in the fucking Super Bowl.
yeah. So you have a couple void years in there.
Okay.
So a couple of people and they don't really have. They're doing fairly good with dead cap money next year.
Hey, power to John Lynch, man. A lot of people were knocking them signing him as GM for a guy that, he had like no front office experience or whatever. And I think he's done a fucking great job for them, dude. And I think I'm not going to say it's all him. I think it's the perfect complement of him and Shanahan work that well together to, hey, I need these guys and we're going to work these deals and do it this way and do it that. I think they're a great 1-2 punch.
So they have somebody on their practice squad that is cap numbers. So practice squad counts against the cap. They have somebody in their practice squad that cap number is $0. How the fuck is that possible? Oh. He's on the practice squad for the 49er. He was on the practice squad for the 49ers, or he is, and it's old money that they had to pay him, but it counts nothing against the cap. That's what it is. So like they have some dead cap this year. Next year they have Eric Armstead, more dead cap with him. I think they're paying him to like 27 or 26 maybe. No, just one more year. So like Eric Armstrong said, next year counts like it's that 16 and dead cap, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
That's interesting. I'm still gonna go with Pittsburgh. Something's keeps me going back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, now that we're talking it out and doing it, I like the idea of Pittsburgh and I like the idea of Tennessee. I think anything else requires some unique circumstances and things to happen, but Pittsburgh would be cool, man. It'd be cool.
Yeah. Or he could come back to the NFC North and play for Chicago.
Yeah, don't say that shit. But all right. So yeah, that's question of the week. And so nobody will play question of the week because nobody I think has ever played question of the week, but that's okay. We get it. It's very tough to go and type your answers into the comment section on YouTube. You expose yourself to the world of our 7 viewers, but hey, whatever. It's okay. We don't knock you too hard. And that's all I got for tonight, James. You have any closing thoughts, my man?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, hey, like always, it was fun. Anybody who's still watching, please subscribe, like, blah 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 blah, all that shit. If you were gonna, you probably would have done it by now. But hey, we did just get a new subscriber last week, so you never know. So
True.
thanks for watching. Catch you later.
Have a good one.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut hut hike.